Hey, Inspired Tribe. How's it going? Welcome to the Inspired Livestream right here on the Inspired channel. My name is Jean Nolan. This is my wonderful and beautiful and smart and wise wife, Kristin Nolan. She's the wise voice behind the camera, always with her thumbs on the screen in a live chat, answering your questions or sharing links, wisdom. So she's always present. And it is Monday, November 8th, 2021. WON. We're in the final stretch of this year. I think this is live stream number 216 or something. That's pretty incredible. And we're all super excited that you're here, Inspired Tribe. Some of you have already put it in the live chat here. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, and we're free. That is the mantra of the live stream. It has been for 216 times over the course of 18 months or more. Probably. So we're super excited that you're here, and we are always, as always, we're showing up for important topics of our time, important topics for all of us. And today we're going to dive into the second edition of Is It True? And Is It True is a new format where we ask questions that we have researched, and you guys are part of the research team. What that means is we do ask questions, we have researched them, but there is value and there is strength in numbers, in more eyes, more ears. It is important that we have factual information. It is important that we share things that are tangible and that are actually verifiable for people. So when we put out these videos and when we do these live streams, we do encourage you to go out and verify this for yourself. Maybe you'll find additional information that is important. Please share it with us. Please share it with the Inspired Tribe. Please share it in the Inspired chat. That is two important reasons. Number one is that we weed out all the rumors and all the also misinformation. There's a lot of misinformation around a lot of topics, and that misinformation so often distracts people from the real tangible things that are happening. So that's the one thing. Oh, Olga, thank you so much. Olga has been such a generous contributor.
So generous.
Thank you, Olga. We appreciate that so much. I think Olga's tuning in from California, right?
I think so, yes.
California. Thank you very much. We appreciate your contribution. Also, on this note, thank you for those who have contributed via PayPal and send contributions. We so appreciate that. Thank you, guys. It allows us to do some things in the background, upgrade our microphones and cameras and all that stuff. And just thank you very much for that. But on the topic of this, so there's the number one, the importance is that we have actual factual information, which is pretty rare these days. And the second thing, of course, is that we talk about topics that matter right now, decisions that we need to make right now as individuals and as a collective. And today's topic that we're going to tackle in the Is It True section here is transhumanism. And what is transhumanism? Before we answer that question, let me go through the live chat and welcome our beautiful Inspired Tribe. I've seen a few already earlier. Christian is here. Purple Soul. Jessin is here. Mr. Pierce or M. Pierce. Paul, welcome. Para is here. David, let me see. Please wake up. Good to see you. Christine is here from Sweden. Emma is here from Italy. Agnieszka is here from Scotland. Monte Carlo. Maybe Monte Carlo. Castle Churcher is here. Welcome. Mike Judas Priest is here. Leslie, Rebecca, Kadia, Johnny is here. Jackie, Ma, MK, and Dee Dee, and Hurricane, and Michelle, Olga, of course, Mike. Thank you all so much for tuning in. So good to see you all. Please do let the tribe know where you're tuning in from. So we're going to ask a few questions today, and we're just going to scratch on the surface of this topic. This is a huge topic, and we don't want to overwhelm people that are maybe fairly new to this or maybe just beginning to understand this. But transhumanism is not a topic that is coming down the line. We're not talking decades. We're talking last year. We're talking this is here. But we're not as we have been saying, we're not really debating about this publicly. There's a little bit on the news here and there. There's a 60-minute piece here and there, but this is the fourth industrial revolution in the minds of the um, global engineers, of the societal architects, people that believe they have the power and um, they have the right to socially engineer, to rewrite our societal contracts, to recreate or newly create cultures. And when I say cultures, this is truly a cult or culture. So, but what is transhumanism? Why is this an important topic? Transhumanism is the idea or a philosophical concept that is now becoming a tangible concept that humans are inherently flawed, biologically, mentally, psychologically, in all areas flawed, and that technologically we can be changed, we can be advanced, we can be modified, we can be consequently um, a relic of the past. Because the idea in transhumanism, this is just as the name says, it's a transitioning period into post-humanism, which is a society after singularity. And singularity, we'll talk about this a little more, is a concept that says that at a certain point, that it's coming very quickly, we're approaching it quickly, artificial intelligence, computers will be so powerful that they will have changed fundamentally society and the way of life to an irreversible point. We're approaching this very quickly, and we're going to talk about it in the questions today. But transhumanism, in very, very easy terms, means our bodies merged with computers and artificial intelligence through implants. So our brains and our biology is hooked to the grid, to the cloud. And from there, there is a constant merger, a what they call modification, what they call a betterment, what they call improvement, to the point where there will be no distinction, or it will be impossible to tell what is biology and what is artificial intelligence. The thing is, this is here. In many ways, we are already using it. There is more than speculation, and there are many, many indicators that point to the fact or possibility that technology that is used in the new vaccines today might be the beginning point of mass scale merger. This is still not confirmed in a way where we could say this is solid fact, but it is very much speculated on by people that understand the technology in the vaccines, people that understand nanotechnology, people that understand these new biotechnologies. So this is, as I said, this is a speculation, but it is speculated uh, on high levels that this mass vaccine rollout really is the beginning of this merger, the beginning of the merger with artificial intelligence and implanted biotechnologies. But let's dive into the questions. Is it true? And again, put pen to paper, write it down, verify this for yourself. We want to say that the irony is not lost on us, that we are presenting this information and asking these questions using technology uh, developed by people and companies that are 100% invested in this topic in transhumanism. So the irony is really not lost on us, and I think it's not lost on them either. But it is a temporary and a calculated trade-off, because we believe we can use technology in this very moment to our benefit, to help each other, to raise consciousness, raise information and knowledge level, raise wisdom, and to create a vision that is far superior to that. But let's dive into the question and talk about it some more. So, pull this up here. As you know, this concept is it true? We're asking questions. You guys go out there, confirm it for yourself, spread the word. Is it true that global power player and head of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, recently said that the COVID-19 pandemic is a unique opportunity for a great reset, to reshape the world and implement the fourth industrial revolution, which will lead to a fusion of our physical, of our digital, and biological identity. I will repeat this. Is it true that Klaus Schwab, head of the World Economic Forum, said that the pandemic is a great opportunity for a great reset, which will lead to a fusion of our physical, digital, and biological identity? Listen to the words. What does that mean? Is it true? Did he say that? Why is this important, and who the hell is Klaus Schwab? Klaus Schwab is a very, very influential figure, head of the World Economic Forum, and has been a power player somewhere at the level of this George Soros's and Bill Gates's and Rockefeller Foundations and Council on Foreign Relations and all these, and the Committee of 300 and all these organizations. Very, very influential. My personal observation, psychopath. But that's a side note. That's just my personal point here. But is it true that he said that? Is it also true that the private sector and governments worldwide have invested trillions of dollars in technologies like genetic engineering, for example, CRISPR, you can look that up, genetic editing, artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, 3D printing, and quantum computing in the past years and decades? Is it true that trillions of dollars in both taxpayer money and private capital have been invested into those technologies? Is it true that Elon Musk, the founder of the car company Tesla, also started a company called Neuralink? And the goal of this company is to interface the human brain with computers using implantable devices, chips, to create to create a symbiosis between the brain and artificial intelligence. Is it true that Elon Musk started a company called Neuralink to hook the brain to a computer to create a symbiosis? Is that true? Is it true that the milestones so far of Neuralink, this company, have been to successfully implant a functioning brain chip into a pig, successfully implanting a functioning brain chip into a monkey, enabling a monkey to control a cursor on a computer screen through an implanted brain chip, and wait for this, enabling a monkey to telepathically play video games through implanted brain chips? Is it true that Neuralink has already achieved these milestones? Is it also true that Peter Koenig, a geopolitical analyst and a former senior economist at the World Bank and the World Health Organization, wrote the following about COVID-19? The planned disaster that is still upon us under many different names, the pandemic, better called plandemic, is just the engine that drives a much heavier agenda. The elements of the Great Reset, which are also the components of the so-called UN Agenda 2030. Is it true that he said that? Now, we want to be clear here. If that is true, a true statement, a geopolitical analyst and a former senior economist for the World Bank and the World Health Organization would have quite a lot of insight on these topics. Is it true, moving forward, that Ray Kurzweil, inventor, author, and futurist, known for very accurately predicting the future of artificial intelligence in the past, says that by the 2020s, we're living in the 2020s, most diseases will go away as nanobots become smarter than current medical technology. Normal human eating can be replaced by nanosystems. The Turing test begins to be passable. Self-driving cars begin to take over the roads, and people won't be allowed to drive on the highways. By the 2030s, which is now some 8 years away, virtual reality will begin to feel 100% real. We will be able to upload our mind/consciousness by the end of the decade. Is it true that Ray Kurzweil said that about the coming shifts in artificial technology? Starting in the 1980s, Ray Kurzweil's predictions have been spot on. We'll talk a little bit about why that is, but let me move forward. Is it also true that Ray Kurzweil said that by the 2040s, Non-biological intelligence will be 1 billion times more capable than biological intelligence, aka us. Nanotech foglets will be able to make food out of thin air and create any object in physical world at a whim. Is it also true that Ray Kurzweil predicts that by 2045, we will multiply our intelligence 1 billionfold by linking wirelessly from our neocortex to a synthetic neocortex in the cloud and reach singularity? At which point the technological growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, resulting in unforeseeable changes to human civilization. So, is it true that Ray Kurzweil predicts that by 2045 we will reach singularity, which means that technological growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, resulting in unforeseeable changes to human civilization? And last but not least, Ray Kurzweil says that by 2050, we'll be able to send nanobots into people's brains to extract memories of loved ones. Augment that with the DNA sampling of the deceased, and it will be possible to create a convincing virtual version of somebody who's passed on. If you're interested in it, there's a movie about it, The Discovery. Is it true that Ray Kurzweil said that? Now, this is a lot to process if you take these visions and ideas from movies into the actual physical reality. And we might think that these are fictional things somewhere in the future that maybe people don't want to do. But the truth here is that this list could have gone on and on and on and on and on to ask these questions. Now, we will continue on the is it true pattern on this topic at a later time. I wanted to keep it at this, to grasp this and to be able to talk about this. There are irreversible consequences, and I want to make something very clear. As for us, as for Christine and I, as for the Inspired channel, as for our family, we are 100% convinced that this is would be the end of humanity, not of humanity as we know it, the end of humanity, or it would be the decimation and a disastrous outcome for humanity if this were the course for our human family. We are absolutely opposed to this, and we therefore have, basically dedicated our lives to teaching other humans how truly big and amazing their potential is. And so part of this, our greatest work is truly that, to help people live and see their true potential. But on the flip side of this is also to show people what the ideas of very, very emotionally challenged and probably psychologically extremely sick people is, to end humans as we know it, to end our beingness as we see it now, and to never ever allow us to actually find our potential. And I want to tell you something about potential and how surprised people can be at all ages and stages in their lives. I'm wearing this shirt today, Yado, which stands for You Are the One. But if you can look a little on the fine print here, it says Cape Sandblass 2021. That's where our Yado retreat happened a little over a month ago down in Florida. And we had a beautiful group of wonderful human beings. Oh, thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We had a wonderful group of people there. And I want to say that, and not to give away ages here, but I want to say that the age was somewhere between mid 30s or 40s to up to 70. Our oldest participant was 70. So people that have been around for a little bit on this planet. Part of our experience together there was to go into meditative states and to experience what a vast, beautiful, untapped potential there is within. And on numerous occasions, people have later, after the meditation, expressed that they have seen and felt something in scope, in intensity, in connectiveness that they have never felt before. What that means is that let's look at our oldest participant at the age of 70. She experienced something that potentially she had never experienced before in that intensity. What does that tell you about the human potential? What does it tell you about the infinite possibilities? We are just beginning to tap into our true power as who we are. And if we now, at this point in time, give up this divinely designed, beautiful being that is not just a physical body is the vessel, but it has amazing potential too. But if we give up our human experience in order to get some advanced functions, advanced memory, advanced maybe physical functions, or we start to download stuff into our brains, but we will give up our humanity. I can guarantee you that this is a trade-off. You trade your soul and your consciousness for these abilities. Then we will never discover how powerful we truly are, and that we have been given these potentials that transhumanists claim can only be achieved with technology. We've been given those potentials by the creator, by the all-encompassing consciousness, by God. This potential is already here. And so when you dedicate your time, your life, when you dedicate your awareness and your attention to the space within where you truly tap into that, when you go into a deep meditation, my God, when you just go into 10, 15 minutes of dedicated breath work and then allow for this meditative state to come, you enter states and spheres that are beyond what drugs can do. They're beyond what people spend thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars on for experiences, for augmented reality, for virtual reality. All of that is not needed. We don't need this. We don't need this for healing. We don't need this to fulfill our true God-given potential. We don't need this to achieve amazing changes in our physical reality. We've been given that creative spark. And it has been told by many cultures around the world, by many indigenous people that have preserved wisdom and knowledge, that humanity has reached this point over and over and over again before, where they were duped into a technocratic thought process and where they believed that technology should rule us. And we're at this point again. And what is troubling to me is not so much the generation that has been around for a little while, the generation that has grown up in an analog world where imagination, where creativity, where work ethic, where discipline, where morals, where values were not just appreciated but necessary in order to create something. We all grew up in a world that required of us to be creative, imaginative, to come up with solutions, to envision things, because there was no other way. And this is truly the way of the future, if you ask us. What I'm more worried about is a generation that knows touchscreens and virtual reality more than they know physical, biological nature reality. And these kids, to no particular fault of their own, have been brought up in a belief system that all the answers and all the solutions, the end of all suffering, and the creativity comes from a box, comes from a virtual space, and that what is happening around them in the human realm, in the natural realm, is something they can ignore or they can escape from, that it doesn't matter. And these will be the children or the young adults that will not even think about making that decision. It will be implied that that is the next step, because every step before was just as implied. So for them, it won't even be a question, or isn't a question right now. I mean, there are people that are taking implanted chips just to get into nightclubs or have some sort of VIP experience, and that is already a reality. The reason why this is so important is because, as we said, this is not being discussed. Another consequence, and I want you really to think about this, I want you to go and look into these topics deeper. We have been fooling with genetic engineering and modification for a long time now. And one thing is, in every field is always the same. Whenever, for example, a company like Monsanto or any other company that does that, or a buyer or whoever, whenever they create a new genetic modification, a new crop, technically you think it's corn. It looks like corn, but it is, in their eyes and in the legal eyes, it is a new species, if you will. It's a new plant that has to which the company has intellectual ownership rights and copyright rights. Which that means is, Monsanto, for example, says that they own this particular crop, and that you're not allowed to, even if you can get seeds, you're not allowed to use them without paying them, because you don't own them, because this is their ownership. This is the same in every field of genetic engineering. Now I'm going to ask you a hypothetical question. If we look at the technology that's being unleashed right now, even in the mRNA vaccines, which truly hacks the genetic code, if you are, through some sort of technology, biotechnology, nanotechnology, genetically altered, are you still the same being that you were before? I say no. If you are not, then who do you belong to? Because now and this sounds weird, but now a new species was created. You're not the same being that you were before. And these companies might and will eventually claim ownership over that, and they will claim ownership over you. That will be a um, big eye opener, but it must happen before the fact, not after the fact, because the eye opener in GMO in agriculture came after the fact. Millions of farmers lost their land, lost their families, you know, their whole history, what families have built over generations, because they didn't understand what was happening. And these companies exploited them and bankrupted them through this exact process. So we're facing some big questions that we cannot wish away, questions that we cannot just ignore, questions that we cannot leave to anyone in politics, or cannot leave to anyone in big companies, big tech. We need to answer those questions for us individually. Now, you might say, hey, bring it on. I want the implant. I want the upgrade. I want artificial intelligence. And that is your choice. If that's what you desire to do, there's nothing that can stop you from doing that, obviously, because you are free to do that. But for those of us who see that there is so much beautiful potential in us as true human beings, in us as becoming, finally understanding that we are a part of nature, a part of a natural, beautiful system, and that we have forgotten our place in that, and that we're just beginning to understand that again. For us, it's a question of, how do we keep improving, not necessarily improving, but keep rediscovering our true potential, keep living that, keep going deeper into new states to us, keep seeing that we can heal, keep seeing that we have psychic abilities, keep seeing that we can telepathically communicate, keep seeing that we have so many beautiful properties that we're not using, but also, how can we show awareness? Because the thing is, with this topic of transhumanism, that there's only a small pseudo intellectual elite, and I'll tell you why I think they're pseudo, and this is probably an eye opener. A pseudo intellectual elite that believes they have the right to make these decisions, because generally speaking, for the broad public, for the population at large, they don't want this. I don't ever go anywhere and the discussion comes to, oh, would you like a chip implant and an upgrade, and wouldn't you like to have bat-like vision, or wouldn't you like to have this or that? No, this discussion doesn't come up. People don't really want to mess with that, and people have a knowing, even if they can't articulate, that there's something untouchable about this beautiful being that we are. So that's the one thing. And here's the reason why I think these people are actually pseudo intellectuals, because it's an oxymoron what they're presenting. They're saying that humans are inherently incapable of making decisions themselves, that we are just run by our subconscious, which is, of course, in some ways true, but we have consciousness and uber consciousness, if you will, divine consciousness also, which they don't acknowledge at all. So basically, they're saying we are just a product of our experience and we run decisions subconsciously, and hence we will never improve because we don't have the capabilities to do so. Now, at the same time that they're saying this, they're saying that the best decision is to let artificial intelligence run our lives and run our biology. Now, I'm asking you, where did that decision come from? Where did that spark of hyperintelligence come from if humans are incapable of making those decisions? They're literally contradicting their own truth here by saying humans can't make these decisions, but we're going to make the decision that this is going to be better for humans. Complete bullshit. And what these people share, and I've studied them, I've watched many interviews, I've looked at their behavior, I've looked at their um, insecurities. People like Bill Gates or people like Elon Musk or people like Mark Zuckerberg, or people like the Google founders, those who are all really really invested in this, and even the billionaires like George Soros, who are, I mean, they're all billionaires of course, but the people that are not so technologically inclined but support this agenda, um, in terms that we can maybe understand better, they all seem to have severe challenges in expressing, understanding, reading human emotion. Now, if you have a severe challenge or are severely challenged in understanding, reading, or even experiencing true human emotion, then this is going to be the biggest obstacle in your life, because most human beings operate with an emotional guidance system. That's how they speak, that's how they express themselves. So if now you cannot read them, understand them, or understand where they come from, you're trying to change that fundamentally so it suits you better. And that's really what these people are doing. They're saying, I don't understand human emotion. Why they are experiencing this, I don't know. I can only speculate. I don't understand, can't experience or express human emotion really. So what I'm going to do is take human emotion out of the equation. And that's what they're saying over and over and over again. That's their rationale. We need to remove human emotion from decision making. It needs to be data driven. It needs to be solely logically um, um, understandable and logically driven. No emotions. I have not yet seen a human being with an intact spiritual and emotional connection that is an advocate for this kind of transhumanism or posthumanism. It's only people that have this problem, that have, and you might call it maybe a form of autism. The name really doesn't matter. It's the same challenge. And some of these people really really show psychopathic traits into the highest level. So I simply I wouldn't I wouldn't let anyone make choices for me, but especially not people that are obviously so challenged in the most basic form of human communication. So that's one thing that you need to pay attention to also. But generally speaking, what can we do on that side? If we are already working on ourselves, or rediscovering our true potential, if we're already understanding that our true connection is to the creator and the all-encompassing consciousness, and that that's where the unfolding of our potential is coming from, what can we actually do to decrease the speed for now of this transhuman agenda? And again, one thing is to actually show it and speak about it. One thing is to actually talk, especially to the younger generation. Show them. The beautiful thing about our Yada retreat is that people actually experienced it. Once you experience it and you say, I didn't need technology, I didn't need a substance, I didn't need alcohol, I didn't need any visual stimulation. People closed their eyes and we went into the space that is out there and in here. They didn't need anything. Once you have that experience, you understand. Then you can show others and teach others how to have those experiences. So that is a big part of this. Another big part of this is to simply say no, and we have to lose our fear of saying no and saying hell no to certain things. So many things that we now perceive as normal are only here because there was not enough power in the no. There needs to be more power in the no. What we absolutely reject as a society, and we have the right to reject ideas. It's a notion. It's a completely idiotic notion that we need to constantly develop technologically. That we need to constantly go higher in the technological realm. No, go and understand nature, understand true biology, study indigenous people and their wisdom. Most of them have been doing really fine until the so-called civilized world came and messed things up. So we have now not just an opportunity, but an obligation to truly spread the human spirit, the true natural human spirit, and to put a stop to this. Not a stop to people wanting to develop things in their garages, in their companies. That's all fine. Do what you want to do. But a stop to forcing humanity into having this, using this, becoming this. And it begins really where we are right now, because what we're facing in the world of mandates, lockdowns, and restrictions is literally the same topic, just rebranded. It's exactly the same idea. And it's just time to stand up, say no, and show what is truly possible in the human family. So, in the transhuman questions that we address today, I encourage you to go a little deeper. The reason why these so-called prophets like Ray Kurzweil and even Aldous Huxley and Julian Huxley and George Orwell and all these people that have talked about this, or Jules Verne, or that they didn't necessarily just have a visionary mind. They were part of the elites. They were part of the people that for some reason could not just foresee this. I actually believe that they were drawing these concepts from the past, from past civilizations, and bringing it into the now again. It's never worked. It will be the downfall of humanity if we go down this path fully. So it's just something to be not just aware of, but to make a decision on. We all need to make a decision. Draw a line in the sand. It's got to be it's got to be a real line and say no, this far, not further. We're not going to do this, and that's where we're at. Those are the quintessential topics of our time. And with a full heart and with a connection to the Creator, you can make the right choice and you can be a shining light for others. But there's no time to be wasted here. We need everyone really on top of their game for this next phase in our human history. This is happening now. And we're just going to continue to show up for this, continue to talk about it, continue to ask these questions. And please do go out and research. Bring back information. Send it to us. We can evolve. We can expand on that topic. We can go deeper. Make it factual. Look for facts. Truly look for facts, stuff that you can verify, because those are eye-openers for people. Inspired Tribe, thank you for being with us today for another or second edition of Is It True? We're also going to invite you to something special tomorrow in the live stream, 2 p.m. Central. So join us. We'll have a special invitation for you. We'll announce a really cool partnership tomorrow that's been cooking in the background, something we're excited about. So come back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central, with a special invitation for a free event for you guys, something we've never done before in this format, and we'll announce our new partners. Super, super cool. So join us tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central, and go out, verify, research, but last but not least, come from here. Come from the heart space. If you bring love to every topic, you're always going to bring it to the positive, to the expansive, to the visionary outcome. That's really the goal here. So, tribe, thank you for being with us. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for your love. And we'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central, right here on the Inspired channel.